God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, be with you and remain with you now and
Hi there everyone, Jack here again at the Vinyl Voyage with another video, and this one is another record haul. But what a haul this is. Some absolutely fantastic records in here, some fairly rare records, some things I'm sure you'll know, some well-known records and some that are a little bit more obscure. So there's a fair few of them that I wasn't so familiar with, but I've given most of them a listen now, and yeah, really happy with this stack of wax. So it's about 15 albums, and I'm going to get straight into it. So you'll definitely know this one, I'm sure. Everybody knows this. Black Sabbath, their debut album from 1970. I absolutely love that cover. Is there a creepier album cover than that one? It's a beauty, on Vertigo. And this is a nice copy. I think this is a UK second press. The sleeve's in really nice condition. Unfortunately, I didn't get the swirl inner, but I got it for a really good price, so I ain't going to complain. That iconic Vertigo logo with the big swirl above the spindle. And yeah, this is a great album. I've got a NEMS copy of this at the moment, so yeah, this will be a nice upgrade to that. So yeah, really pleased to pick this up. Not only did I pick up one Sabbath swirl, I picked up two. Picked up Paranoid as well from the same year, from 70 as well. Again, I'm pretty sure this is a second press, this time laminate cover. Yeah, really nice condition. I always wonder who this little dude is. It's quite a strange cover, I always think. And the vinyl's probably in better condition on this one. There's only one problem with the vinyl. Again, no swirl cover. Beggar's in fairly good shape, but are you ready for this? Oh, why? Why? Island Records. So, yeah, a pity, but hey ho. It plays really nice, and yeah, it's a fantastic album, a fantastic sounding copy. So, yeah, for the price I paid for it, I shouldn't be complaining. So yeah, Black Sabbath, Paranoid. This is the pick of the bunch for me, the album that I was most excited about getting. This is by a band called Accolade, and this is their imaginatively titled second album, 2. This is Accolade 2. Yeah, really cool artwork, kind of mosaic style on the front. Not a flip back sleeve. Yeah, the Accolade, they weren't a band that I was familiar with, to be fair, before I picked this up. They were a UK progressive folk band, so little touches of psychedelia in there, little bluesy elements. There's quite a lot of flute in this one. It's a little bit, I suppose, whimsical at times. Some of the songs remind me a little bit of Dr. Strangely Strange, the Irish folk band, kind of psych folk band that were on Vertigo. Yeah, some great songs on here. Sector 59 is like a kind of weird sci-fi song. It says here, an invitation to extraterrestrials. The Time I've Wasted is a great number, that second song at the start of side 2. And then you've got a typical kind of psych sounding track at the end of side 1. It's called Cross Continental Pandemonium Theatre Company. Yeah, really cool. I've really enjoyed this. I'll just show you the label. It's on that Regal Zonophone label. It's a really nice copy as well, this. So yeah, really pleased to pick this album up. I've really enjoyed it. I've given it 2 or 3 listens now, and yeah, it would rank highly in my favourite kind of psych folk, prog folk albums. And one thing that's very strange, if I got it to hand, I don't have it to hand, I don't think my Electric Eden book, which is a bit of a Bible, oh, it's just over there and I can't be bothered reaching for it. It's a bit of a Bible for the British folk scene and all the bands that went through that scene. And it mentions lots of the psych bands and kind of weirder progressive folk bands like Comus and the Incredible String Band and all these type of groups, Forest. But there's never any mention, I went back and checked, there's never any mention of Accolade, which is a bit strange. But yeah, this is really cool. Really enjoyed listening to this. I'd like to find out a bit more about the band and listen to their first album as well, which is meant to be really good. So really pleased to pick that one up. And then I got another similar kind of rare progressive folk album by a band called CMU. And I believe that stands for, is it something like Compulsory Music Unit? Something like that. This is their album Open Spaces. And this is on Transatlantic. No, it's not on Transatlantic. What is this on? It is on Transatlantic, which is, I suppose, a traditional folk label. But the thing that's a bit strange about this, or what is infamous about this album, so this is a rare one as well. It was an album that came on these, this should be glued in, let me just show you this. These plastic packets. And the reason why they're infamous, I think Transatlantic put out 4 of them, so this should be glued in here, this kind of Perspex inner. And if you can see this, there's this foam edging. And why these became notorious is that foam edging became brittle and dry over time. And what it does is, I don't know if you can see this, but it creates kind of abrasive, becomes like a kind of abrasive pad. You can't really see that on there. Ah, there it is. You see that there? Which creates like a kind of horrible rasping sound, kind of whooshing sound, where the vinyl has been rubbing up against this foam that was meant to protect the vinyl, ironically. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it kind of ruins the first third of the first song called Henry, and that's a great song as well. You see that Transatlantic label. But yeah, this is really, really good. The rest of the album's fine, but if you look at this album on Discogs, anybody who's selling it or anybody who talks about this album talks about these plastic inners and how they wreck the kind of first track, which, like I said, is a shame. But let me just show you a little bit. I'll show you the gatefold. So that's the band there, a kind of surly looking bunch from England. And they were a band, an eclectic band who mixed up a number of different genres. They had a female singer called Lorraine Odell. You can see her there. And she would share vocal duties with this barrel of laughs here. This guy's called James Gordon. And I think she wrote the songs with, I'm not sure if that's a brother or a partner, Roger Odell. But yeah, it would typically be Lorraine singing or one of the men in the band singing, and sometimes the songs would flip between male and female vocals. At some points, it reminds me a little bit of the Vertigo band Affinity. But yeah, I really, really like this. There's a whole host of fantastic instruments on here. Lots of flutes, like the previous one, Accolade. There's lots of flutes. There's fuzz guitar, congos, electric piano. They all seem to move around instruments. The one that I find interesting is this guy here. I think is it Roger Odell? It says he plays drums on one track, the track Open Spaces. He plays drums, glockenspiel and skulls. So God knows how he's playing the skulls. But yeah, I've only given this a couple of listens, so I need to get into it a bit more. But yeah, on first listen, this is really good. I've really enjoyed it. It's definitely something that's up my street. So again, another album from, like the Accolade, they're both from 71, I believe. What an amazing year that was for music. So another beauty to add to the collection there. Moving on to a bit of soul. Great album again. This is from 67. It's William Bell, great Memphis soul singer, with his album A Tribute to a King. So this was originally, when it was released in 67 in the US, it was called The Sound of Soul? It wasn't called Tribute to a King. When it was released in the UK, not long after this was released, Otis Redding died, and William Bell had a song called A Tribute to a King that was about Otis Redding, and then he used the same title for this as a bit of a homage to his idol. But yeah, this was put out on Stax. And William Bell, he's probably most famous for that classic soul track. I think everybody's covered it, Wade in the Water, which I think he wrote about back in 62 or something like that. He released a number of singles for Stax. He released a few singles, then he got drafted into the US. I'm not sure if it was the Army or the Navy, but he got drafted anyway. He turned to songwriting for a while, writing songs for different Stax artists, and then this wasn't put out till 67. So he spent a period of time as almost like a singles artist and a writer before his first album was actually put out, and this was his debut. But yeah, some great songs on here, a bit of a mix of soul standards of the time and his own songs. So Wade in Water is on here. A Tribute to a King is the first track. There's other ones like Do Right Woman, Do Right Man. I've Been Loving You Too Long, the great Otis Redding song. There's a great version of that. Yeah. That's tremendous. In fact, Wade in Water's not on here. No, it's not. Oh, I listened to this about 4 times the other night as well. I must have that song just seared into my brain. But yeah, really, really good. Really enjoyed listening to this. A great album. Then a bit of Amon Düül II. This is, how do you say it in German? So it's the Dance of the Lemmings, Die Tanza der Lemming. My German's not that good. That's the inner gatefold. This kind of weird spaceship type thing. Looks like the cockpit of a spaceship. And then you've got this statue as you look through the screen. I like that in the back. That back cover's so cool. Look at that. Oh. Forest beast there. So yeah, this is just very, very psychedelic krautrock. If you know about Amon Düül II, they were a band that originated in Munich. They came out of the Amon Düül commune. It was like a loose collective of musicians who played together and created hippie music. And when Amon Düül II were formed out of that commune, they were a little bit more focused, but a little bit more rocky. One of the early krautrock bands. Yeah, this is really cool. It's a double on United Artists. Very psychedelic, very experimental, very discordant in places, not much song structure, especially on sides C and D. But if you fancy something different and you're prepared to expand your mind a little bit, this is a really good one to go for. So yeah, up until this point, I only had Phallus Die, their first album, which is really, really weird. The lyrics are really strange, all sung in German, whereas this has more English lyrics. But yeah, I prefer the first record in this double is better. The second one is a lot of sounds and yeah, pretty much no song structure at all. It's just a bit of a free-for-all, but yeah, this is really cool. Glad to get that one. This is, I think, the only one I've not listened to yet. So it's Amon Düül II again. And check out that artwork again, that's so cool. This is Live in London, This was recorded in 72 and 73. So that Amon Düül Dance of the Lemmings was released in 71. This was the live album that kind of accompanied it, or it was the tour promoting the Dance of the Lemmings album. So a lot of the same songs. Yeah, you've got the band up here. There's organ, synthesizer, guitar, violins, saxophones, drums. Yeah, I'm not listening to this, but I'm looking forward to listening to it. I'm not a massive fan of live albums, but I'd imagine this will be cool on United Artists Records again. So that was another Amon Düül II live in London. Right, more Amon Düül. So this is Amon Düül Hijack. This is from 74, and again, cool album cover. So this was an album that I wasn't familiar with, and reading up on it, it's not an album that was considered very good within the Amon Düül canon. It's seen as a more commercial, or a kind of play for commercial success. But I've got to say, I've listened to this 2 or 3 times now, and I think this is absolutely brilliant. I love it. I love the opening track. It's called I Can't Wait, part 1 and 2, and it's got such a funky drum beat at the beginning. So I went straight on the internet when I heard this to find out what hip-hop bands had sampled the first track, and there was only like about two bands that had sampled it. That's such a beat ready to be sampled. It's amazing. And then this really cool synthesizer line comes in, and then there's like cello over the top, and it has a little bit of a Beatles vibe, but then the whole album doesn't play like that. There's parts of this album that sound a little bit cabaret. It sounds quite straightforward rock, as much as Dance of the Lemmings is very experimental, and it's hard to kind of get a grasp on when songs start or where they end. It's like I said before, there's very little song structure. This is the opposite. This is straightforward songs. You've got like kind of disco beats in here, and yeah, just more straightforward rock songs. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this so far, and it's on Atlantic. It certainly wasn't something that you can hear it's more of a commercial album, and it's not as psychedelic and out there, but I really liked it. So that's Amon Düül II Hijack from 74. Oh, an album that's a real favourite of mine next. I've already got a copy of this. This is actually the same pressing. First press is Joy of a Toy by Kevin Ayers. So I was hoping that this would be an upgrade to the copy that I've already got. But unfortunately, you can see a lot of damage to the cover. So it looks like sellotape there. And then there's a bit that's obviously been ripped out, and then it's been coloured in black, which is a real shame because this is an absolutely fantastic album. And I think the copy I've got already is probably nicer than this. But yeah, you can see it's on these early unboxed EMI, no box EMI Harvest label. So the later ones have the little EMI box there. But there's so many good songs on here. The opening track, Joy of a Toy, is just such a joyous song. It's for those that like Syd Barrett. There's a real Syd Barrett kind of feel to it. It's very, very English psychedelia, a little bit melancholy at places. But yeah, I really like Kevin Ayers. I really like his voice. I like all the instrumentation. You know, you've got the likes of Robert Wyatt playing drums on here. You've got a lot of his old compadres from the Soft Machine. And yeah, it's just really good stuff. The Clarietta Rag is a great song. That whole side one, in fact, Carol on a Swing, just great songs. If you like Syd Barrett and you don't know Kevin Ayers, you would love this. I would say it's a little bit more musical, maybe not quite as out there. But yeah, trombones, flutes, piccolos, recorders, all sorts, cellos, really, really good stuff. Can't rate that one highly enough. Brilliant. Next one, an album from On Duram. It's Caravan with, is this from 1970, this one? Or is this, no, this is another one from 71, isn't it? What a year. Joy the Toy was 69. This is 71. In the Land of Grey and Pink. What an album cover. So this is another one that I was hoping was going to be an upgrade, and this probably is an upgrade. It's the same copy that I already have of this album. However, I have a big mark. Well, it's a sticker. I've got a big white sticker for some reason, somewhere around here on my copy, which this doesn't have. Nice vinyl as well. Unfortunately, it wasn't the brown label, which is the earlier press. It's on that red and white Durham label. Great songs on here. I love Is It Golf Girl, the opening track is so good. When I think of this album, I always kind of think of like proto-prog. It's quite psychedelic, especially the first side of this. And it's one of these kind of albums that's, is it prog, is it psych? It's somewhere kind of in between, I think. Yeah, really nice. So yeah, again, another beauty, Caravan in the Land of Grey and Pink. Picked up this nice copy of Creamed Israeli Gears on Reaction from 67. This is, I'm not sure exactly what press this is. I'm not sure if it's a first or it's certainly an early one. But yeah, this is a nice copy of this. Lots of great songs on here. I'm sure you know Disraeli Gears. It was Strange Brew and Tales of Brave Ulysses. All the Beauties. We Are Going Wrong. Mother's Lament. Sunshine of Your Love, of course. Yeah, there's the labels. It's just an amazing... I'm not a massive Cream fan, to be honest. But Disraeli Gears would be easily my favourite Cream album. And one of the most iconic covers of the 1960s, without a doubt. Everybody knows this cover. Alrighty, so I've shown a couple of Vertigos already. I got another Vertigo. Another one from the early Vertigo roster. This is Beggar's Opera with Act 1, their first album. I love that album cover. I think this is what a Keith special. It's like such a surreal album cover, this. These kind of weird dudes with the masks, and then this kind of odd female here. All those early Vertigo albums, they had such great artwork, great inner sleeves. So again, this is, I suppose, proto-prog, very, very heavy on the Hammond organ. Some great players on here. Great Hammond organ, great guitar. The Poet and the Peasant is really, really good. Then it goes in, there's that real classical influence in here as well, where they go into that suite of classical songs. But yeah, I was right, yeah, it was Keith. Album designed and photographed by Keith. Yeah. I've actually got, again, I've got this. This cover's probably better. There only is one pressing of this one on record, I think. Again, on that iconic Vertigo label. Yeah, it's not an album that I listen to a lot, to be honest. It's probably a bit too heavy on the instrumental passages for me. I do like the album, and I like a lot of the singing when there is singing, but a lot of it's quite instrumental. Fantastic keyboard playing. But yeah, another good one to get. Beggar's Opera Act 1. Alrighty, this one is from, what's this? Is this 72 or something? 73. This is Islands. I'm sure a lot of you know this album by King Crimson. So I'm not a massive authority on King Crimson. I picked up in that last lot, I picked up Lizard, which I'd really, really enjoyed. And this is the album that came after Lizard, I believe recorded during the same sessions. think. But yeah, I don't like this as much as Lizard. I've listened to it once or twice and I have enjoyed it, but not as much as Lizard. It sounds a little bit more conventional. I believe that there was another lineup change as well. I think this is seen as the last album in the kind of early lineup of King Crimson. Who was it? It was Peter Sinfield who did the words, and down here is Words, Sounds and Visions. This was the last album that he appeared on. I think Robert Fripp fired him at the end of this. But Keith Tippett, great jazz pianist, plays on here as well. A lot of jazz men on this album. So you've got the lyric sheet and this fancy inner. That's the band there. So like I said, this is not an album that I know overly well, but I have enjoyed it, and I think I would imagine with a lot of the King Crimson albums, they take a few listens to really start appreciating. It took me a few listens to get into Lizard, but then once it clicked, I've really, really enjoyed that. It's on that pink-rimmed Island label. Not sure if that's focusing. But yeah. So yeah, very pleased to get a hold of this. A little bit of damage to the sleeve, unfortunately. But again, you probably can't see it too much because it's been coloured in black. You just see it up there. Yeah, the record's fine. The record plays fairly well. There's a few pops and clicks, but it's certainly playable. So yep, that is King Crimson Islands. We're almost there, another couple to go, 2 more to go. Okay, first one is Animal Tracks. This is the Animals, is this like their 3rd album or 2nd album from '65? I really, really like the Animals. To be honest, a lot of the Animals stuff that I've heard previously has been best ofs, a lot of the early singles. And this is early stuff as well, but it's got a number of covers on here. I think this is pretty much predominantly covers. I think it's maybe just one Eric Burdon song for Miss Colker, but it's got a cover of Roadrunner, lots of standards of the time that British invasion bands would have did, like Bright Lights, Big City, Hello, I Love You, Love Her So by Ray Charles, I Believe to My Soul, How You've Changed, Chuck Berry. Okay, a great R&B band, The Animals. I love that album cover, really cool. You see Eric here. Is that Chaz Chandler there on bass, who'd go on to be Jimi Hendrix's manager? Not sure. I think, is that Alan Price, the keyboard player? Not sure. But yeah, nice mono copy on Columbia. So yeah, great kind of tough R&B sound from boys from the Northeast. It's the Animals with Animal Tracks. And the final one is the album that came out after Animal Tracks, and that is Animalisms. And this is from '66 on Decca. And again, lots of blues and R&B standards of the time, but a few more of their own songs, I think, on this one. So there's Maudie by John Lee Hooker. Let's see, Sweet Little 16, Chuck Berry. You're On My Mind by Eric Burdon. Who was Robery in the band? Who wrote that along with Eric Burdon? I'm not sure, I don't know. Gin House Blues, Squeeze or Teaser by Jackie Wilson. I Put a Spell on You by Screaming Jay Hawkins. Yeah, and then a few, there's about 3 or 4 Eric Burdon tracks on here. Yeah, great stuff. Again, an album that I wasn't familiar with. I'll just show you that Decca label. But I've listened to it a few times and on that red mono label. Yeah, I love stuff like this. I love all those British invasion bands. And the Animals albums aren't albums that I've seen around too much. It's normally best-ofs that you see with the Animals, like singles collections. So it's nice to pick up a couple of albums. And I believe these UK albums were really different from the US counterparts, even when they had the same names. They were very different. Yeah, again, on a laminate or a laminated cover, you can just see it starting to lift there a little bit. Oh, nice flip back sleeve, but overall, yeah, good stuff. Another one that I'll be glad to add to the collection and play over the coming weeks and beyond. So yeah, that's what I picked up. I was over the moon to pick up this little bundle. Loads of stuff in there that was new to me and albums that I'm really, really pleased to kind of dig into deeper, and then some old favourites as well, some classics. A couple that I may sell to try and recoup a little bit of money. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. As always, stick in the comments if any of those albums are your favourites, if they are albums that you enjoy listening to yourself, if you've got any little stories or anecdotes about them. It's always good to hear. It amazes me the collective power of the VC, because even when I did my last video and showed some more obscure albums in my collection, people have always got stories about the bands or about the album art or about previous material that the band have put out. And yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to help fill in the gaps and just increase your own knowledge and find out a little bit more about the music that you listen to. So I always appreciate that, and I'll always answer the comments as well. So until the next time then, I've got a good bit of listening to do. I've got so many new records to show and to dig into. I'll probably do another video at the weekend, but until the next one, I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.